not me, cause I'm too fly. The freestyle fanatic, ooh, my.
That was insane. That was just crazy.
It's like that.
It's like a
set
kid in a
after
candy
set.
store.
Everybody's got like a favorite set and stuff.
What's your favorite set?
You look familiar.
Yeah.
I've seen you on TV, or we met or something. Or...
I don't think so.
Oh.
I'm relatively new to all this stuff.
Well, cool. It's good to have a familiar face. But man, this experience has been awesome. It's been like, just keying off what you're saying, it's like everybody comes here and they're pretty amazed. Being here is like just being amazed on a daily basis.
Yeah.
From September. It is. Every time we walk onto a new set, even Marla's kitchen. You know what I mean? It's a simple, small set, but you're like, wow, this is dialed. It's, it's the whole deal. And then you start looking at stuff like Backlot, Carmack, the comedians. Obviously, you guys couldn't see that. That was kind of first up, and it's long since down. His apartment was incredible. I mean, it was just, it's phenomenal. And then it's fun watching Zach work and sitting behind the monitor and watching so much inspired angle after angle. You know what I mean? It's so much of it kind of pops right out of the comic book, and it's just this neat process. It's not like that on every project where when you're watching just, shot after shot, it's like, I want to see this movie. I can't tell you how many of us actors is just like waiting to see the movie.
Did you know the material going in before you got the job? Did you know the Watchmen graphic novel?
Not real well.
No.
No, I was just kind of vaguely familiar with it. I had, seen some images and maybe poked through one of the magazines or something earlier on, but I wasn't real too familiar with it. But I had heard about it. And then after, I'd heard about, I guess people on the internet were kind of suggesting me for this, so I kind of started looking into it, a little before I got called to.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Awesome material. I was never, growing up, I was never a big comic book fan. I hate to say that. I wish I could be like, I've always been a comic geek. For some reason, when I was younger, reading wasn't my favorite thing, and even when I kind of got into the comics a little bit, it was more all about the picture, so I never really held my interest. And when I started reading, I kind of just started into novels. But I'll tell you, all these years later, after reading Watchmen and just seeing the kind of brilliance that goes into that medium that I wasn't aware of, and I probably couldn't have appreciated it. For some reason, for me, I'm able to appreciate it now. But it's actually kind of got me wanting to read more graphic novels. Like I just recently picked up V for Vendetta, and I just started it because I want to read some more of these, just because the Watchmen experience was so cool, especially the layers. You know what I mean? It's like, it's neat on that first read. It's like, wow, that's really good. And then you read it again, it's like, wow, that's brilliant. Because you get so much more in that second pass of everything that's dialed in.
And character-wise, what interests you about your guy?
Hmm?
What interests you about your character?
Oh, man.
On first pass and going through it more than once.
Oh, it's just an amazing character. Wait till this.
Who are you having more fun playing, Kovacs or Rorschach?
That's
Is that a loaded question?
there's one person. His name's Rorschach in my head. Wow, I mean, that's what interested me in this character was. I mean, it's a fascinating character. You know what I mean? This guy's got he's just got such a kind of a tweaked past, and the way he dealt with all those emotional scars as a kid, I think is just interesting. I mean, he's a single mind now, just because of his past. You know what I mean? It's a trip. It's hard to kind of figure out how to verbalize this stuff. But
What's it been like living inside this guy for all these months? You found it difficult at all?
Usually I'm pretty good.
Like Ronnie, you had Ronnie. I know that was tough sometimes.
Yeah, but that one was kind of weird. It seemed like at the end of the day, I can kind of. There was some cool separation. I could walk away from him. This guy, I mean, I could totally walk away from him. But what's kind of weird is sometimes I get a little. Things will kind of come out Rorschachian. What the hell is that? And yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
You,
But
you would do your Rorschach voice for us.
no, I wouldn't. Yeah. But to talk a little bit about this character, here's a guy that was in this weird kind of way, victimized, neglected. He's got a mom who justifies her behavior, in these shades of gray, things that she has to do to put food on the table. But yet all Walter sees is that he's just in the way. He's the problem. He's always second seat to everything, physical abuse. She's constantly with different men. I think early on, he felt that he was the problem. And he started to hate himself for being the problem. I think as he started to get older, he realized that he wasn't the problem. His mom was the problem. His mom was ruining his life. And I think he only could kind of find himself in this sense of dad, that he never met, to try to, find his identity. And that just made him hate his mom even more, because his mom, the dumb bitch, didn't even know the dad's last name. And I think in looking at that, when he finally, at age 11, he had to go into like a home and stuff. And I think that's where he kind of had those epiphanies that he wasn't the problem, that he was a victim, and I think he started to see that the way his mom victimized him and justified it in those shades of gray and that complexity of need, of the things that she had to do to just be able to put a roof over his head and food on the table. He could never accept that. He could never accept that complexity. It was simply wrong. The thing she did was wrong. There's no justification for that. And I think as that started to really implant itself, he started to see that society's kind of like that. You know what I mean? We do such horrible things in the name of complexity and gray that I think somewhere, as normal people start to deal with these scarrings and these, this emotional damage, people sometimes can find a way to kind of just deal with life, a lot of us have had weird childhoods and shit, and we somehow find our way, and we go through life with our scars. Well, Walter went the complete other way. You know what I mean? His just like became, this is a world of black and white by God, and he knows that, and that's what it is for him. You know what I mean? I think that's just one part of this guy. I think every person that he has to deal with, he's punching out at his mom. He's protecting his inner child. He's protecting the innocence from this bullshit, complexity and gray. And through all of this, I think the guy is basically become so introverted that this guy basically has no one, were it not for costume vigilantism. You know what I mean? He would really have nothing. This is the only place where he's been able to find himself. Cops don't like him. People don't like him. The crime busters don't like him. The only guy that maybe a little likes him, and even he's not sure, is Dryberg. And I think he, without these guys and without Dryberg, this guy is just truly and absolutely alone with no purpose in life. This is his only purpose. That emotional, damage and that scarring and everything is just has pushed him to this. And this is the only thing that makes sense to him.
Do you think it works in reverse for Rorschach, that he also doesn't really like anybody except for maybe Dan? That he's phasing out sort of relationships in general at this point, at the peak of his character?
Well, I don't think he ever had them to phase out. I don't know quite how to answer that, because I know he doesn't like anybody, because everybody's wrong, and everybody's buried in shades of gray.
Mm-hmm. He has that one scene with Dan where he sort of holds his hand on the owl ship at that sort of pinnacle moment before going to Karnak. And there's like a little flash of sort of emotion, if you could say, call it emotion in Rorschach towards Dan. It's like that one moment where he's a little bit more human, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I know that Rorschach holds Dan in super high regard, and I think if you went to Rorschach and said, "Hey, who's your best friend?" Dan's my best friend. If you went to Dan and said, "Is Rorschach your friend?" Well, I worked with him. You know what I mean? Really, man, Dan's all Rorschach really has. As a friend, and that semblance of relating to anybody, and
He's really the only one who ever vouches for Rorschach throughout the entire storyline.
Yeah.
Is there any hypocrisy in the character, do you think?
Of course.
Yeah. Would elaborate on it? How he changes his attitudes to fit, just because he doesn't like anything, he's got to find reasons not to like things.
Well, you asked me what I liked about this character, and that is what I like about this character, is his singleness of purpose, is the fact that he doesn't stand for any of this complexity, this justification, for people's behaviors and stuff like that. And that's what's so cool about him. He's so linear. But see, the reality of it is, as much as I admire that in Rorschach, black and white, no bullshit, damn it. This is the way it is. Don't give me that crap. But I'm Jackie. I'm not Rorschach. I know we live in a world of gray. And what we do as people is we're constantly trying to make it black and white. Constantly. You know what I mean? Everything's argued way over here and way over here. And we're constantly striving to put things into a nice black and white. But life isn't like that. Life is degrees of gray. And and we're constantly trying to reconcile that. I believe more in ambivalence than I do conviction. There's always two sides of shit. And one with an open mind will try to look at all the sides.
How's the training been like in the getting prepared to play the role? Are you doing a lot of stunts, a lot of heavy action yourself?
I'm not doing a whole lot of stunts. I've been doing a little bit of it. So I haven't had to do a whole lot of fight training. I've got an awesome stunt guy, Matty, who's just incredible. But I've been doing a lot of core training exercise just for strength and stuff, like for the just to be in really good shape for this stuff, and for the tank top scenes and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I would imagine that Rorschach spends about 3 hours of his day, stretching, lifting, and then punching the bag. I would imagine he punches the bag for a while, and I would imagine he does it in nothing but his tank top. I don't know why I'm imagining all this, and his tank top and his things, and his sock on his head.
Well, there's a lot of people compare the Rorschach character to the Travis Bickle character in Taxi Driver. There's a lot of similarities between the two, and you can obviously Travis does a lot of working out. So
yeah, I didn't go down that road a whole lot. Just a little look at that, just because it seemed to me everything was there. But,
How's it feel to be in that costume?
Awesome. Just really motivating. It's like she's heard me tell this story a million times. But
he's got the easiest one, but
it was yeah, that's what's funny too. Is this costume, it's actually very warm and uncomfortable, but it's hard to complain because the other costumes are even more warm and uncomfortable.
Yeah, Mullen and Matthew were saying they sort of envy the fact that you have the easiest costume to wear.
Yeah, well, they're all full of crap. It's a very difficult costume to wear. No, it is. It's it gets like a little warm in there, but it's, again, these guys are like Mullen's constantly freezing, and Matthew and Patrick are just drenched. As soon as they put that on, they just start sweating, and so I've got it pretty good. But the thing is that Michael did such an amazing job like designing this thing and laying it all out. The very first night, I was out working at the cemetery scene, and there was this huge 18K HMI, way off in the distance, but I'm standing there and I looked down and I saw my shadow, and it looked just like that frame in New York where it's Rorschach's shadow. It's almost his perspective too. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, wow. These lines, man, and just the whole feeling of Rorschach and the movement and everything just started to really settle in, seeing those lines and moving. It was really motivating.
Now, with the mask on a lot, do you find it really, I guess, taxing to your acting ability? Because a lot of times people aren't seeing your full face. Do you find that harder, or do you find that better for your performance?
Well, it's just kind of an interesting challenge because you kind of have to think about it from the inside, but you also think about it from the outside. So it's you can't help but wonder what's reading and how is it reading. Where usually you don't think about it just because it's happening here. If you do it internally, it'll just happen here. And
how to look on the dailies with your look, because it's hard to imagine with the mask on. I think about V for Vendetta, and while that was a great film, it's hard to get Hugo Weaving behind that mask all the time because it's hard to see the emotion. And from this, it looks a little different because it's a lot lighter of a mask, but I'd still imagine it's taxing on you as an actor to just display emotion, even the ruggedness of it.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, sometimes you just kind of have to look at the monitor, see how things are, kind of work it a little bit, again, a lot from the inside, but with this guy, you got to look at the outside also just to see, look at a take and see if I'm animating the costume correctly. Is there something more that I can do to get this point and this emotion across? Of course, what we're also doing, too, is we've left the eyes open so that we're recording everything like this, and they can see my eyebrows, and they can see my eyes, and what's going on to help maybe motivate the blots a tad, It would be nice. I mean, the blots are going to look like the blots, but it would be neat if they can find real subtle nuance for some sort of emotional connection to what's going on, to a degree. Again, if it could, you know what I mean? It couldn't be like, angry face, happy face. It has to be just this very subtle, almost subliminal kind of.
Does it also become more of a vocal performance then with the mask on?
I don't know how to answer that because the vocal thing is so unnatural. I mean, it's feeling natural now, but it's a whole vocal thing. So I think, I do know the answer to that. I guess with the mask on, because when I'm playing Walter and when I'm playing Rorschach with the mask on, it's the same. It feels the same, with the exception of again looking at the monitor and see if I can, move a little different to make something a little more clear or something. But it does. I mean, sometimes it's a little frustrating, from the sense of you can't tell if shit's reading because you're acting with the sock on your head, so it's tough. It's like you guys write a story now, put your pens down. No computers, ready, go. I mean, it's kind of tough.
We've got time for a couple more questions, then we got to get in.
How much are you enjoying this whole renaissance? Being in demand again, having a room full of people want to do.
Oh man, I'm
hanging on every word.
I'm still tripping out. It's rocks. I mean, I've been kind of working like non-stop for I don't know, about 8 months or something, and it's just been incredible. And being a part of this production is just phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, this has just been a treat. Every time people come out, too, I've got my, friends and family come out. Everybody just, this is an amazing project. I mean, you guys know, you just took this tour, and it's like, and it doesn't get old. Being here on a daily basis, it's hard work, it's long hours, but, watching Zach and his entire team work all of these details, all of these nuances, and and seeing the boards and everything to come together with it, it's so, creative, so attached to the book, such great symbolism and graphics, and I mean, just the design, and, Larry's work, DJ's work, the actors, it's phenomenal. And working with these guys is awesome. But working with Patrick rocks. Working with him again is just super neat. We were standing the first night we were in the Ozymandias's
Bites.
lair or whatever, and that's the first time me and it's Rorschach and Night Owl standing there in full costume, we're looking at each other. 2 years ago, I had said we'd be standing here in these outfits, and we just wouldn't have believed it, And it's a treat. It's really a treat.
And then anything else lined up after you wrap this?
Nope.
You reading?
I'm gonna go carry a sign. The end of the strike is nigh. End of the strike is nigh. So hopefully they'll get all that figured out.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Well, thank you guys, man.